Can you believe it? Just over half a century ago. In 1970, all of Oman had only 3 schools. 3 schools, and for an entire country. 95% of the population that couldn't read or write. The capital's gates were locked tight every night. Anyone wanting to leave their hometown needed a permit. A radio, a cigarette, even a pair of sunglasses could get you in trouble. If someone had told the Omani people back then that just a few decades later, their country would boast some of the most modern shetrots in the world, a currency stronger than the US dollar, and a level of safety that would make many developed nations jealous, no one would have believed it. But it actually happened. So what exactly happened to Oman? What transformed one of the most isolated nations on the planet into one of the most stable and prosperous places in the Middle East? And why, amidst all this modernity, is there still a village with no roads leading to it? This is Oman, and this is perhaps one of the most incredible transformations in modern history. Imagine holding a single banknote in your hand and someone tells you it's worth nearly $3 US. It sounds absurd, but that is the Omani real, one of the strongest currencies on the planet. But money is just the most visible part. In Oman, when a citizen gets married, they can receive a 600 square meter plot of land from the state right near where they live, completely free to build their own home. If they raise livestock, the government provides additional farmland. No bank loans, no interest rates, and no strings attached. Education from the early years all the way through university is fully funded. The same goes for healthcare. And every few years, the government does something many developed nations would never even dream of. They wipe out all debt for low-income families. Unconditional, unbound. But perhaps the most luxurious thing Oman produces is not land or money. It is a bottle of perfume. Amouage, one of the most luxurious perfume brands in the world, was founded by the Omani royal family, in the 1980s at the personal request of Sultan Qaboos. The original goal was to create a gift worthy of heads of state. 100 ml a bottle costs nearly $800. The design is inspired by the traditional Khayar dagger and the domes of grand mosques. It is sold in high-end boutiques from Paris to Tokyo, often purchased by royal families and collectors as works of art. If you were born an Omani citizen, what would you do with that free plot of land? Leave your answer in the comments below. But this wealth did not just appear out of thin air. Behind it lies a story of transformation that few places on earth can match. Just over half a century ago, Oman was one of the most isolated countries in the world. Under Sultan Said bin Taur, the gatesmen of the capital city, Muscat, were locked tight at nightfall. Anyone wanting to travel from one region to another within their own country needed a permit. Listening to the radio was banned. Smoking was banned. Playing soccer was banned. Even wearing sunglasses on the street could bring you trouble. The entire country had only 3 schools at the time, and they were all for boys. Women were not allowed to attend. About 95% of the population was illiterate. And if you drove across Oman back then, you would only find about 10-kilometer paved roads. In 1970, a bloodless coup took place. The son, Sultan Qaboos, took power, deposing his own father. He knew exactly where the country stood, and he decided to change everything. He restructured the nation and its economy. Oil revenues that were not just used to build the country, they were used to build. Schools opened up all across Oman. Hospitals appeared in places that previously had almost no medical services. The first generation of women was allowed to attend school. Education is gradually became a right rather than a privilege. Healthcare was covered by the state. Programs supporting housing, land, and social welfare began to take shape. In just a few decades, a country where the vast majority of the population was illiterate became a place where many grew up with almost no worries about tuition or medical bills, all in less than 50 years. The Al Said family behind this transformation is not a newly emerged dynasty. They have been in power continuously since 1744, making them one of the oldest surviving monarchies in the world. But few dynasties in history have engineered such a massive leap forward in just a single generation. And surprisingly, despite changing so rapidly, Oman has managed to preserve something that many modern nations lost long ago. At first glance, it is hard to believe. Omanis leave their motorcycles unlocked outside their homes overnight. Women walk alone at midnight on empty streets. Tourists leave their bags on dining tables and step outside to make a phone call without a single worry about safety. If you live here, you will forget what anxiety feels like. And what is even stranger is that you will not see armed soldiers standing guard on street corners. You will not hear constant police sirens. Security and intelligence forces are active, but they operate so invisibly that you do not even feel their presence. The peace here is not maintained by force. It is as natural as the air. The foundation of that safety comes from the most unexpected place. Morals not from early childhood. Omani children are taught that theft and violence are not simply violations of the law. They break trust. They strip away the dignity of the entire community, not just the offender. When disputes arise, the courtroom is not the first destination. Families step in. Forgiveness is brought to the table. Reconciliation comes before punishment. And above all is the most heavily weighted concept in Omani society: family honor. Harassing or insulting a tourist is not just breaking the law. It is a stain that smears the entire lineage. And in a society where everyone knows everyone, a reputation is not easily regained. Have you ever lived in or visited a place this safe? Comment the number 1 below. If you have, that tranquility does not mean life here lacks things that make outsiders stop and stare. And nothing makes outsiders stop and stare more than looking at the women of this land. In the village of Mahout, when the tide recedes about 400 Bedouin, women quietly wade into the shallows to hunt for cuttlefish. They do not use old boats, they do not use nets, and they do not bring any modern equipment. Just homemade iron spears and experience passed down through generations. Under the harsh sun of the Arabian coast, they still wear ankle-length traditional garments just as their ancestors did centuries ago. While many still believe women in conservative Islamic societies live strictly behind veils, the women of Mahout spend their days working out in the wide open sea and sky. Behind the face coverings are eyes lined with kohl, a traditional cosmetic made from natural minerals that has existed for thousands of years. Older women also wear burqas made of fabric or thin metal, a cultural symbol handed down from generation to generation. But what many tourists remember most is the fragrance. Omani women do not wear perfume in the conventional way. They let the smoke from burning frankincense seep into their hair and clothing, creating a scent that lingers all day long. Henna is also a crucial part of life here. It appears not just at weddings, but is painted during many joyous occasions, including the welcoming of a newborn child. It is art, it is a ritual, and it is a core piece of an Omani woman's identity. But behind all this beauty and tradition lies a paradox that Omani society has yet to fully resolve. Since the reforms began in 1970, Omani women have entered almost every sector of modern life. They make up more than half of all university students. They work as doctors, engineers, and scientists. They stand in the ranks of the Royal Oman Police, wearing uniforms and carrying badges on the streets. This is an image that many countries in the region still cannot imagine. But when the subject turns to marriage, the picture becomes more complex. Even as adults, holding advanced degrees or occupying important roles in society, Omani women still need the consent of a male guardian to marry. Only in cases where they are unreasonably blocked and can prove it under the law do they have the right to ask the courts to intervene. The disparity is even clearer when a marriage ends. Men can divorce relatively easily, while women often have to prove grounds or accept certain financial obligations to win back their freedom. Yet amidst these rules, there exists a place where women are entirely in control. In the city of Ibra, every Wednesday morning, a special market opens its doors. There are no large signs, no advertisements, and no tourist guides. But the locals know this place well. It is the Souk al-Harim, a women-only market. Men are strictly forbidden. Male tourists are not allowed inside. Inside the town market, women buy, sell, bargain, chat, and run their own businesses in a space completely sheltered from the male gaze. It is one of Oman's most fascinating paradoxes. A country where tradition and modernity do not collide head-on, but coexist on boundaries that are sometimes very difficult to explain using the familiar standards of the rest of the world. Oman is a conservative Islamic nation where homosexuality is still strictly prohibited by law. But against this backdrop exists a unique group of people not found in many other parts of the region. They are known as the Zanith, biologically male. In traditional Omani society, they are not entirely viewed as men, nor are they seen as women. They exist in a space caught right between the two worlds. You can recognize them by their clothing. Omani men typically wear crisp white robes, while women wear colorful garments. The Zanith usually opt for soft pastel colors that bridge the gap between those two images. Their hair holds similar symbolism, not as short as a man's, but not as long as a woman's. What is remarkable is that Omani culture has long refrained from viewing gender entirely through the lens of biology. Social roles also play a huge part in how a person is perceived by the community. Because of this, the Zanith have found their own distinct place in society without needing modern concepts or definitions. Before watching this video, did you know a third gender like this existed in Oman? Let us know in the comments below if you already knew or if this is your first time hearing about it. But the strangest things about Oman do not just lie with its people. They are also hidden in rituals that are preserved almost nowhere else on earth. Imagine standing in the middle of a festival is playing. The crowd is gathered, and then women step out and begin to weep as if they have just lost their dearest loved one. But no one has just died. This is Alden, a ritual unique to Oman. After a family has been in mourning for several years, this ceremony is held to officially close out the grief. It lets the community know they are ready to move forward. Those tears are not for loss. They are for healing. This distinctiveness also appears every Friday morning at the town of Nisa. Goats, cows, and camels are led around a stone square while buyers stand in a circle continuously shouting out bids. No electronic screens, no modern auction systems, just human voices, animal sounds, and a handshake that determines the value of an entire breeding season. And if you're lucky enough to be invited into a Bedouin tent in the middle of the desert, you will quickly understand why Omani hospitality is so famous. A whole young lamb, heavily spiced, wrapped tight, and buried in a fire pit to slow roast for hours, might be prepared just because a single guest dropped by. But if those rituals are special enough, what Omanis eat on an average day will surprise many even more. Oman is a wealthy nation. Luxury restaurants, high-end seafood, and imported foods are everywhere. Yet on the dinner tables of many Omani families, there's still one dish that catches many foreign tourists completely off guard: shark meat. This is not a meal reserved for the elite or special occasions. Shark is cut into pieces, marinated with garlic and chili, and then grilled, or it is sun-dried to make a salad tossed with lime juice. To Omanis, it is as common as salmon or tuna is in many other parts of the world. However, the dish most deeply tied to Omani identity is shua. During major holidays, lamb or camel meat is richly spiced, wrapped in banana leaves, and placed into an underground pit filled with hot coals. The pit is then omet, sealed shut and left untouched for hours, sometimes lasting up to an entire day. When the earth is finally opened, the aroma spreads across the area like an announcement that the festival has begun. Another dish called arks demands an incredible amount of effort. Lamb is mashed together with rice and salt for a long time until it blends into a smooth, creamy texture. The meat and rice become virtually inseparable. In remote rural areas, traditional preservation methods are still maintained to this day. Mutsabi is meat that is sun-dried until it can be stored for long periods without refrigeration. Meanwhile, Mad Bee is prepared by grilling meat directly on hot stones, baking under the desert sun. Out of these 4 dishes, which one are you most curious to try? Leave your answer below. And if Omanis hold a deep love for their traditional foods, there is another living creature they cherish even more. In Oman, a high pedigree racing camel can sell for the price of a Ferrari. That is not a metaphor. Those are real numbers showing up at auctions all across the country. For centuries, their camels were the backbone of desert life. They provided transportation, food, and wealth for the tribes. Today, their economic role has diminished, but their status in the hearts of Omanis remains almost unchanged. Racing camels are cared for like professional athletes. They have tailored diets featuring honey, dates, and fresh milk. They undergo regular health checkups and become the absolute pride of an entire family whenever they step onto the racetrack. The fascinating part is that this love thrives in the middle of one of the most modern countries in the Middle East. Oman boasts a top-tier road network with highways allowing speeds up to 120 km/h. Yet one of the most common hazards on those very roads is wandering camels suddenly appearing amidst speeding traffic. Perhaps it is one of Oman's most charming contradictions. A country rich enough to build world-class highways, yet still unwilling to put its beloved camels entirely behind fences. Look at a map closely enough and you will notice something strange.